Nigeria's equities market is back in negative territory with majorly by losses in banking and consumer goods stocks following 2 consecutive sessions of gains. And I have Moses Hamed, is a research analyst at Investment One Financial Services. He joins me now as we look at what's trending in the equity space. Thank you for your time today, Moses. And looking at today's performance, though, what do you make of what we're seeing so far today and also this week?
I think the sentiment is quite mixed in the market for now. We saw Zenith result and it was fantastic. But after yesterday's NTB auction, it shows again that rates are likely going to go up again in the fixed income space. And that actually may have discouraged investors in the equities market again. Many of them may be looking at the direction of yields in the fixed income space. And that may actually reduce sentiment or reduce interest in the equities market so far.
All right, now, but let's get into what we're seeing. You mentioned the earnings from Zenith Bank yesterday. Also, we're seeing Wema Bank also raising earnings today. But what do you make of the earnings season so far, and what impetus is going to give for investors coming into the space?
I think with the trend we've seen in terms of yields and previous auction, bond auction, and NTD auctions, we will have seen a massive sell-off in the equities market in terms of investors' direct decision. But because investors are still taking position because of dividend that some of these names may still pay, and that's why we have not even seen massive sell-off in the market. I think if not for dividend payment that they are expecting, it's not that we're in corporate season and corporate action period, many of these stocks will have lost heavily. But I think what is keeping the equities market at this level is the fact that there'll still be dividend that will be paid very in the near term. So that's what's keeping. But generally, the sentiment is weak, given the change in direction we've seen in fixed income space. Particularly, yields have been going up. And if you look at auctions, previous auction, bond auction, treasury bill auction, you will see that rates are going up. And it appears that it means we still don't know whether this is the level at which this will stop. So I think that will still keep some monies away from this market as investors try to see opportunities in the other market.
All right, but sector-wise, though, how are investors playing the field?
I think for now, it's still going to be banking. It's quite liquid and dividend in terms of dividend payment. If you look at Zenith particularly, the dividend yield is still quite attractive. I think about 10%, still quite good, even if you compare it to 1 year yields on 1 year treasury bill. So I think generally, once interest rate or once dividend yield is still above what you get for 1 year paper, I think investors will still be looking at some quality names and take position on those names. But after the corporate action, well, we may see some level of sell-off in the market before we see more opportunities again coming to the market.
All right, but Moses, looking at news filtering into the markets today, we're seeing that Unilever Nigeria is going to separate its tea business into a different legal entity. What do you make of this move, and how do you see this impacting the company in the near term?
Well, they have a very strong brand in the tea business, a very strong name in that space. I think it's dicey for now, but they are saying they will a separate entity. What we can read to that, does that mean they want to sell that business? If they sell it, then they may pay some special dividend to current shareholders of Unilever, but they're still not giving us enough clarity around that. But I think the tea business is quite a good business. I think they have a brand name there. But in terms of the numbers from that business to the books, I don't have the figures there, so I can't really attach so much value to it. But I think for them to have embarked on that kind of move, they will have their own reason and they will be able to justify it before shareholders.
All right, now still on other company news coming into the markets today, we're seeing that 3 major shareholders of Ella Lakes are going to sell down 25% of their shares over the free float deficiency that we're seeing in the company. What do you make of this move, and how do you see this impacting the company going forward?
I think investors are expected to react to free float deficiency, which means it's going to affect kind of liquidity for the stock. So liquidity is something that some of these investors may be afraid of if you cannot meet the free float requirement, or maybe the float is not sufficient enough to allow so much trade. I'm not sure a lot of activities in that stock. So I think investors may just be skeptical about liquidity going forward, and that may be the reason why they want to sell some of their holding.